is this? Tabletop Island, huh? Let's see what this is all about. I don't suppose they told you anything in Denver about the tragedy we had here during the winter in 1970? Hard a man named Charles Grady is the winter caretaker, and from what I've been told, he seemed like a completely normal individual, but at some point during the winter, he must have suffered some kind of complete mental breakdown. He ran amok and killed his family with an axe.
Well, you can rest assured, Mr. Ullman, that's not gonna happen with me.
That's right.
Welcome to Tabletop Island. I'm Bernardo, your host, and today we're going to be going over the board game The Shining by Prospero Hall. Oh man, this is so cool. I am a fan of the movie. It's not my favorite movie like a lot of you guys, but that's probably why you're here. This game fits the theme so well. Prospero Hall seems to really grasp the essence when it comes to thematic games. Hence the Jaws board game. They definitely grasp that, but much like that game, I guess the better way for me to describe it is when you keep playing the game, it's like watching the film over and over. And obviously you can get tired of doing it back to back, but it's such a great game to come back to. And I think they captured the essence of the theme extremely well. Let's first take a look at the components. So the board is really simple. It's a nice fold-out board. The artwork on everything is amazing. It's like they got it painted. Oh, it's such, even the cover is just, oh man, so nice. Utilizes the carpet from the hotel. Everything really fits just like the movie. Even some of the cards, which every card seems to have a repetition of what you do on everything. It just goes so well with the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, I do highly recommend taking a look at that, but you don't need to have seen the movie in order to enjoy the game. Okay, so keeping on with the components, we have a kind of a key ring with the number for the hotel, which I am so sorry I'm forgetting, so I'm going to take a look at it again. It is 237. I will never forget that again. I'm sorry. And you also have these cardboard circular willpower tokens. We'll explain that in a little bit here. And then finally you have your little pawn pieces. While they are kind of these cylinder, kind of classic like meeples, nothing too fancy with the components here in terms of like miniatures and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, you don't really need it. The only area where I can see the confusion is you do have two light blue tokens. I'm guessing it's from the twins just like the movie. I'm certain it's from the twins just like the movie, but having a little variation on it might have made things a little easier, but you don't really need it. It really fits well with the theme, as I'm going to keep talking about throughout this review. But what you're trying to do, so you can play a few different ways. You can either all be working cooperatively to try to make sure that the Shining doesn't mentally corrupt you and accidentally force you to have to kill someone else, because if any one of you guys die, you're out of the game. But if you play with the option of the corrupted, then you have one person who's corrupted in the game who is trying to kill you. But they may just blame it on the fact that the Shining messed with their hallucination and they just went after you and it's not really their fault. So there's a lot of hard in trusting people with this game, which works really well. I'll be honest with you, we jumped straight to the Hidden Traitor and it was highly worth it. I don't recommend playing it any other way. In fact, we even thought about just shuffling all the cards all together and passing them out randomly to where you don't even know if there's a traitor. So like, I'm not gonna be like, all right, we're gonna play with the Hidden Traitor, or all right, we're not gonna play with it. All right, you're never gonna know. And we like that idea because it would really keep you on the edge of your seat there, and that seems like the kind of way I may play moving forward. But for the first time, Hidden Traitor, highly recommend it. In fact, with a lot of games that utilize Hidden Traitors, it seems to be the direction you don't go. For something like Dead of Winter or even like Nemesis, for example, those are just some bigger games I could think of off the top. Most of the time you don't play with the Hidden Traitor off the bat because it's kind of hard to teach the game and explain to someone how to be a Hidden Traitor. This game is extremely straightforward, and honestly with the rule book, perfection. but the game itself is extremely simple. Basically, you're trying to get through an X amount of months, and the cards have different colors, which will indicate when you go to the next month. If you end up surviving, then you're good to go. You're a surviving caretaker. You win the game. But if the corrupted can eliminate one of you guys, the game's over. They win the game, and the Shining has taken over. Now, let's talk a little bit about The Shining. After each month, you pass out 2 Shining cards to everybody. Now, there are numbers on the back of the Shining cards that can indicate the minimal and the maximum number on the Shining card. So with the tokens that you end up grabbing on different movements on the board, you want to make sure that you get something kind of in that happy medium, or at least for the minimal. Because if you can't at least meet the minimum for the Shining, you want to make sure that you're not going to get killed by somebody or lose a life. You do have 3 lives. Now, one thing to note, or 3 damage you can handle. Let me not say 3 lives. But one thing you can do is go to like the hedge mage, which can... Is it hedge maze? I think it's hedge maze. And I really need to rewatch this film. Well, let me look. Hedge maze. Man, I'm good. See, I know what I'm talking about. You can go to the hedge mage, and if you're in the hedge mage, then if nobody else is there and you end up kind of getting hallucinating with the Shining, you can't harm anybody because you're trapped there. If there are other people in there and you do hallucinate, you do hurt them. So they can't be in that room with you, or they can't not be in that room with you, if that makes any sense. So if you end up hallucinating and everybody else is in the hedge mage, then you can't go in there and hurt them. So it's kind of like a safe haven, maybe. You have all these options to go to different rooms for different effects. I'm not going to talk too much about every detail of the game because I do recommend you taking a look at that rulebook and finding out for yourself, especially when you play the game. I don't want to give out any kind of too much for the game. Wow, words are really hard. But I don't want to explain too much about the game because I want you to enjoy it for yourself and it's all feel fresh to you. The game is extremely straightforward. It's very easy to teach once you kind of go through that rule book and explain it a little bit to everyone. It's not the most basic game, but it is very simple to grasp, and it's such a fantastic thematic game. They really capture the essence of The Shining, and I highly recommend this game. It came out this year. Take a look. I believe I got mine at Target, so I do recommend taking a look there if this sounds like the kind of game for you. Some board game shops may have it too, so I do recommend being on the lookout, again, if this sounds like the kind of game for you. I would say fun for the whole family, but it all depends on whether or not you want your child to be in that kind of horror theme. The cards can have a little bit of kind of some bloodiness, and the die has that bloody damage piece, so it's kind of dependent on you, but it's easy to teach. And honestly, again, the board looks great on the table in terms of artwork. Of course, it doesn't have minis like a lot of the higher end games there, but the game's price point and everything that in terms of the gameplay and design is well worth your time. But that is honestly all I have for you guys today. If you are interested in notifications, there is a bell up there somewhere. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I do appreciate any feedback. I'm trying to make these videos more and more outrageous, and with your guys' help, I have been doing so. Monday, regular board game reviews. Wednesday, weekly updates / talks. And then on Fridays, my vintage board game reviews. That is all I have for you guys today. I'll see you guys next time.